All right, Mike, what's happening in Derry? Tell us. Oh, hey, scared the crap out of me. I'm not doing a video this week. So instead, here's the news. Yes, that's right, jerks. Seeing as some of you want to believe certain news and some of you want to believe certain theories, I thought, hey, why not just listen to me? I'm not the news. I'm just a guy doing a stupid video in his freaking room, and it's freaking hot, so excuse me if I get a little sweaty. But yeah, welcome to the news. It's been a hell of a year. Not really sure where to start with this. The world's on fire. There's only one person that can really save us from all this, and it's... I'm kidding, of course. I just don't think that clip gets enough love, so I didn't know where to put it. I figured this would be the perfect spot for it, even though it's not. But yeah, it'd be kind of cool if he would save us from this somehow. Is he our Captain America? Is that what happened? The year has been so stressful. I'm pretty sure that if you took a picture at the beginning of the year and you take a picture at the end of the year, you're going to notice a visual aging on your body. Me, myself, I'm pretty sure by the end of this I'm going to have even more crow's feet. I've been kind of having a rough time recently. I decided to take a break from Facebook. I've been on there since this whole thing started, and then the Black Lives Matter movement, and this whole time it's been nonstop, just social media. I've been looking at all the protest videos. I've been looking at, everything that's been going on. It's been a headache. So, hey, take care of yourself. And if all this stuff that's been happening recently is kind of taking a toll on you, take a break, because that's absolutely what I had to do. I've been watching videos about protests. I've been watching videos of angry people.
You're harassing me.
I'm not harassing you.
It's overwhelming.
You're coming close to me. You're coming close to me.
Back off!
It's angry.
Threaten me again!
It's all at your local Costco.
Back the up, put your phone down.
My name is Butch, and I'm an American patriot. See that flag? I would die for that flag. The Constitution that you are supposed to uphold, I would die for that.
It is appalling that each and every one of you sitting up there as human beings, part of the human race, the only race that we have, would suggest to muffle people, to put masks on our face, to keep us from breathing oxygen, to get us to become sickly.
You preach pseudoscience and safety. Does anyone care about preserving the liberty of the people who pay your salaries? Some of you are up there smirking and smiling at public comments to which you do not agree. I have the photos, and they're shameful.
They want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it. Can you prove that it's good for people to breathe carbon dioxide over and over and over again?
What about PTSD from child abuse situations? I was left in a hot car. You want to cover my face? I'm going to hyperventilate because I remember being stuck in that hot car. What about people like me? We don't matter because of the greater good, right?
I own a firearms business. Now, I think you might agree with me that it would be ludicrous for me to allow someone into my shop to purchase a firearm who's wearing a mask, whose face I cannot see.
We will get together and do a citizen's arrest on every single human being that goes against the freedom of choice, okay? You cannot mandate You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people.
You're not God, and since masks are harmful, where there is risk, there should be choice. You're removing our freedoms and stomping on our constitutional rights by these.
There's a conspiracy theory sweeping the globe that coronavirus is caused by 5G technology.
The theory is that 5G damages the human immune system.
All of us should know what's taking place right under our noses.
What 5G actually does, it absorbs oxygen, and that's really important to know.
5G gets switched on, people drop like flies, and all of a sudden you've got the excuse because, well, there's a virus going on.
Some people in the UK bought into it so much they started lighting cell phone towers on fire.
5G burning. Burning, 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 burning.
Roseanne Barr is calling the novel coronavirus pandemic a ploy to kill baby boomers.
You know what it is, Norm? I think they're just trying to get rid of all my generation.
And that's the thing about conspiracy theories, is that once you disprove one thing, they'll just go ahead and put something else on the fire because it makes sense to them, but they don't seem to want to look at the actual facts that's going on. None of the conspiracy theories that try to link G5 and the coronavirus even make sense. The virus is spreading in countries without access to 5G, and the frequency of 5G can't harm your body. Basically, 5G has the same frequency as a radio station on your car. So if that's true, what about G's 3 to 4 or G's 2 to 4? Did those do anything? Why specifically now? Is it because of the virus? Because that's a lousy excuse. You're just making an excuse. And now people are burning 5G towers because they're afraid of it. They're doing caveman business because they don't understand technology. I didn't think we'd get there.
We've seen all kinds of confrontations involving masks, verbal and physical fights, even coughing fits. But this one might top them all. Police say a woman refused to leave a local store, and you won't believe what happened next. A regular day at work turned into quite a show at the Verizon store off Galleria Boulevard in Roseville.
Refusing to leave, not wearing masks. They've asked several times and she's refused. They're calling back again and advise that that female now pulled her pants down and is urinating inside the business.
Are you kidding me? That's terrible.
What? COVID-19 is caused by a contagious virus that has no relation to electromagnetic waves. Even the general correlation between 5G and COVID-19 doesn't stand up. They're both just two things that happened at the same time. Pretty sure Corona kind of postponed a couple places from getting 5G because we had to lock down. You know, so how does that make any sense? Wouldn't they just do it all at the same time and then it just, like magic, it just happens? Well, no, because we're living in the real world. No, you're right. We're living in the real world. You know, let's point out another theory over here, like Bill Gates all of a sudden wants to rule the world. Bill Gates, this guy. Look at his face. You really think this guy is the one that wants to rule us? You're pointing your anger at the wrong billionaire.
You delivered a TED Talk where you predicted pretty much what is happening now. Now, thanks to the world we live in, that has sprouted a bunch of conspiracy theories, everything from Bill Gates invented this virus to prove himself right, or he knew it was going to happen and that's why he said it. Was that TED Talk about this virus, or was that a hypothetical that has now come true?
Well, I didn't know specifically that it'd be coronavirus and that it would hit in late 2019. But the goal of the talk was to encourage governments to make the investments so we could respond very quickly and keep the case numbers very, very low. And so sadly, this is not a case where, I feel like, hey, I told you so. Because we didn't use that time when it was clear as the biggest threat to kill millions of people, to have the diagnostic standing by, to be ready to ramp up a vaccine factory. A few things were done. Some countries Our foundation funded some work that will help with the vaccines now, will help with the diagnostics, but most of what was called for, particularly in a New England Journal of Medicine article I did that went into way more specifics than I could in a short TED Talk, those things didn't get done, and so that's why it's taking us a long time to get our act together faced with this threat.
Bill Gates wants to rule the world and put chips in our faces because he's the Antichrist. What? That's the most ridiculous thing ever. He's been trying to fix this. Well, our nation's leaders are kind of just fapping about, not really doing anything. He's actually standing up, donating money.
You were one of the first people to come out and donate a large chunk of money to fighting coronavirus or helping medical workers get the equipment they need. I remember the last I read it was yourself and your wife Melinda who had pledged over $100 million. It seems though that money isn't able to fix this problem. It seems like governments around the world are trying everything they can, but it doesn't seem like it can be fixed. What are you hoping to achieve in this moment in time?
Well, if we get the right testing capacity, you can change by literally millions the number who are infected. And governments will eventually come up with lots of money for these things, but they don't know where to direct it. They can't move as quickly. And so because our foundation has such deep expertise in infectious diseases, we've thought about the epidemic. We did fund some things to be more prepared, like a vaccine effort. Our early money can accelerate things. So for example, there's, of all the vaccine constructs, the 7 most promising of those, even though we'll end up picking at most 2 of them, we're going to fund factories for all 7. And just so that we don't waste time in serially saying, okay, which vaccine works, and then building the factory. Because to get to the best case that people like myself and Dr. Fauci are saying is about 18 months, we need to do safety and efficacy and build manufacturing, and they're different for the different constructs. And so we'll abandon, it'll be a few $1 billion we'll waste on manufacturing for the constructs that don't get picked because something else is better. But a few billion in the situation we're in, where there's trillions of dollars, that's 1,000 times more, trillions of dollars being lost economically, it is worth it. And normal government procurement processes and understanding which are the right 7, in a few months those may kick in. But our foundation, we can get that bootstrapped and get it going and, save months because every month counts. Things can reopen if we do the right things in the summer, but it won't be completely normal. You'll still be very worried. We may decide masks are important, although right now they're in short supply for health workers, so people should not go and hoard those. But the capacity of that can be brought up, so it may be something that, like China today, everybody who's walking around is wearing one of those. So we'll have a lot of unusual measures until we get the world vaccinated. 7 billion people, that's a tall order, but it is where we need to get to, despite a lot of things in between now and then to minimize the damage.
This isn't a master plan that he's trying to do because what he wants to, what does he want? What does he want? Our information? Because guess what? The world has your information. Your social security number, that's your chip. There you are. You want to talk conspiracy theories? If this so-called Illuminati, Bill Gates bullshit is happening, it probably happened a long time ago, for all we know. But guess what? Right now, this situation that's happening in this moment is not a conspiracy theory. It's a real life thing that you should be concerned about.
The coronavirus pandemic is upending our lives in ways many people could not have imagined. Work and socializing now mostly confined to home. Schools obviously closed. Most long-term plans canceled. And while some in the federal government seemed caught off guard, this very problem is something some leaders did warn about. One of the world's most accomplished innovators took to a public stage 5 years ago, warning about pandemics. It all sounds quite prescient now to hear Bill Gates' advice then.
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. We have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence, but we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. We're not ready for the next epidemic.
Gates became the richest person in the world by leading a tech revolution, and he became increasingly famous as a nerd with a can-do spirit. Here he was on David Letterman back in 1995, sporting a hard hat and lab coat.
What are the things that you've designed for the house that really you're very excited about?
I've got a trampoline room that I can go and use.
Gates has had his own run-ins with Donald Trump. At one foundation meeting, Gates recounted a classic story where Trump was attending a horse show in Florida. Gates' daughter was there, too. And she noticed that Trump took an extra car ride to leave the area so he could make one of his special helicopter entrances at the event. This is footage MSNBC's Chris Hayes first reported.
Like 20 minutes later, he flew in a helicopter to the same place. So clearly he had been driven away, but he wanted to make a grand entrance in a helicopter.
And while Bill Gates is not out here telling everyone, I told you so, the evidence shows that in many ways, he did. Listen to Gates' prescient warnings from 2015.
We need to get going because time is not on our side. In fact, if there's one positive thing that can come out of the Ebola epidemic, it's that it can serve as an early warning, a wake-up call to get ready. If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic.
He was in a TED Talk talking about how the United States is vastly unprepared for some sort of pandemic that would occur if it were to occur. And he looked at research from things that happened with the Ebola virus. So he was quietly, cautiously letting everyone know, hey, if this were to ever happen, we're not ready and we should be ready. He never said, hey, in about 10 years, I think I'm going to make a virus that's going to infect the whole world and we're all going to be screwed. No, he said that this could happen and we should be prepared. We weren't ready, we weren't prepared. Instead, the man in the office didn't want to deal with it because it was going to look bad for him if he just didn't want to deal with it. It wasn't his problem until it showed up here, and then even then he denied it and even said that it was no problem and in about 2 weeks we were going to be fine. Guess what? 2 weeks turned into 5 months and we're still going at it, baby. The fact that America has decided to make this into some sort of political thing, into you're wrong, I'm right, is ridiculous. It is absolutely absurd how people just decide to think, no, this is America. I get to choose if I want to die. Are you listening to yourself? You get to choose when you die? Corona's not going to just say, oh, okay, well, if they don't want to die, that's fine. I'll just go ahead and go somewhere else. It's not a big deal. Corona isn't waiting for anybody. It's going to hit us even worse once fall comes and we all get sick. It's going to get worse once schools open up. The main idea behind all this is basically we need to try to figure out what it is. And if it keeps spreading and doesn't seem to stop and we can't seem to contain it, it's going to be a lot harder for researchers to try and figure out what's going on. You don't have to do much, and this could have been, at the beginning of this could have been a perfect month off for America. Everybody complains how much they have so much to do, how they never have time for themselves. This would have been perfect. And guess what? Everyone just squandered over it because they don't want to be locked up. You have to, for this moment in time, just for a little bit. And then you can go ahead and open mouth kiss anybody you want. But for right now, this instant, we need to just come together because it's exhausting. Because it feels like, I'm not the only one, but it feels like I'm the only one yelling into a camera, making a fake news set, all to get the point across that we need to start banding together and doing something about this. But instead, we're all fighting, and we all think this is a political movement, or they're trying to control us, or it's one big conspiracy. It's always a conspiracy. Every time, every day, something's always happening that's a conspiracy, because people don't want to look at facts. People don't want to look at the actual education that's given to them, or expand their minds. What do you think of that? It's crazy how people just assume that this is all some sort of scheme. And guess what? If it is, if a year later we find out, oh yeah, it turns out Bill Gates and Fauci were making a concoction for us to buy, so now we gotta shell out $3 billion for this corona thing, and it turns out it's fake. Cool. Guess what? I made an ass of myself for an entire fucking year because I was trying to protect me and my loved ones. That's all I'm gonna get. That's a slap on the wrist. I'm gonna get made fun of for the rest of my life for wearing a mask. But guess what? If this is real, this is getting to be too much. And we're gonna spend an entire year locked up in our homes and feeling uncertain about things and throwing wrenches into the public thought because we don't want to wear a mask. We don't want to be caged in because this goes against our American rights. No, it doesn't. You trying to kill me goes against things. That should mean something to you. But instead, no, I need to go to the bar because I need to get laid. I need to stick my tongue down some person's throat because that's my life and I get to choose how to live it. Cool. And now I take you over to Little Morgan with an Animal Crossing update. That's all I have for today. I know that I said that this is a news thing, and I kind of just use this as a platform to get out my aggression, but hey, so does CNN, so does Fox News, so I figured why not me? Eat your heart out, John Krasinski. That's been the news. Eat your heart out, John Eat your heart out, John Krasinski. Eat your heart out, John Krasinski. Eat your heart out, John Krasinski. This has been the news. Eat your heart out, John Krasinski. This has been the news. I'm doing a thing where, they're talking, they're anchors, but it's just me. I'd have Little Morgan on, but he's in my game.